Hey everybody, welcome to the finale of the multiverse. That's right. It's the last episode of What If. We're all very, very sad, but we're glad you're here to join us to talk about it because a lot happened. As always, I am the resident snitch. I'm your watcher for today, Yali Perez. I'm back. Yeah, that booster shot ain't no joke, but you should still go get it. Still go get it. So yeah, I'm back. I'm the watcher, and joining me is my favorite people in all the multiverses. First up is our own Sorcerer Supreme, Joseph. Joseph, say what's up.
Hi, how's it going?
Very Beetle strange of you. Up next is also the son of a king, the co-host of the Ether podcast, Mr. Matt.
Rogue One always checking in.
Yes.
Hey, everybody.
And a rose and a widow by another name. It's our good friend Jazz. What's up, Jazz?
Hey.
Oh my God, everybody looks great today. Just so you know,
it was like these old things.
It's a finale. You got to show off. So yes, the last episode was, I think the title was released maybe the day before, 30 minutes or so before midnight, but it's called What If the Watcher Broke His Oath, which surprises no one because he does that all the time.
Nothing to him is the answer to that question.
I was gonna say, isn't it technically just like that's not surprising to us?
Yeah, us, him, everyone involved. Right. He was like, what if I broke it? I've been doing it the whole show. What are you talking about?
I can't break it if I never kept it.
Exactly. Yeah, so this was the end episode. And as a lot of us predicted, this was the picking of the Guardians of the Multiverse, the characters that we have seen over the course of 8 episodes, picked from their timelines to save us all. And our Guardians were Captain Carter, Black Panther, Killmonger, I don't know what we're calling him, Beetle Strange, Gamora, which we have to talk about, right. Party Thor, and who else was last? I can't remember. Star-Lord T'Challa, I'm sorry. So those are the funny thing is that scene where they were showing that T'Challa's Star-Lord war, I thought they were just gonna get regular Star-Lord because they went to that one Denny's that still was in trouble. Yeah. I don't know how long they've been attacking that one Denny's, but it just seems to be the center of everything there. So I thought it's they're gonna pick up Peter, and then they didn't. So I really appreciate that.
Just left him.
Yeah, reminding us how much everyone dislikes him. So yes, the episode is the Guardians. They're there to take on Ultravision, who has all the stones. He's hungry with power. He's going crazy. The Watcher breaks his oath and gets involved. They kind of instantly become buddies. I was kind of surprised how well everyone liked each other. Was anyone surprised how immediate they connected with each other?
24-minute runtime. There's we gotta get
this going. There's only so much time in this.
You're friends now.
If they can cram the entirety of the first Avenger movie, the Captain America First Avenger, redone into one 24-minute runtime, and we can understand it and get it, I'm fine with them montaging their friendship.
It was so they were so quick with it. He was like, cousin, hey. It was very, very, very cool.
They had time for Chinese food.
And my mom actually laughed her behind off at that part. She didn't watch a single episode. She watched the last one and she heard that line and she was cracking up. I was like, that's what guys is like.
Intergalactic Chinese food.
Intergalactic Chinese food is what did it for her.
That delivers across dimensions. And that's the power that is the power of the himbo that is Thor, is he's just, likable.
Who wants to bet it was Howard the Duck who delivered it?
Probably. Fun fact, it was from the same Chinese store Yali used to buy her DVDs.
Exactly. He's got his
place.
Movie and his food. It's a good deal.
Same place.
And so somebody snitched, and it wasn't me this time. So what did everybody think of this episode? It was, like I said, it was pretty standardish. I actually thought it would have been longer, but I actually think this was the best episode where the timing of it fit perfectly. I didn't want 5 more minutes. I didn't think it needed 5 more minutes less. I thought it was really good timing with it. Because I think the one thing I complain about the most is the timing of each episode. But besides that, we're gonna go ask everybody how they enjoyed this episode. We're gonna start with the beautiful Jaz. What did you think of this episode?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, when it first started and we saw Miss Peggy Carter, I was a little confused. I'm like, last time we saw her, she got sucked into the Tesseract, and then it took me a minute to figure out. Oh yeah, he went into her timeline to snag her, but I loved it. I mean, except for maybe the part where he took Killmonger, I have some issues with that. I mean, I might be tainted from the original Black Panther, but watching that what if between him and Tony, I'm still a little. He's a little iffy still, in my opinion. I'm sure we'll get to the end part, so I won't spoil that yet. But all in all, I mean, the ending was beautiful. I haven't cried during the show at all, but that ending got me. I was sobbing during the
end. Before we go to our next person, F, I'm going to make sure I read the chat correctly because last time I butchered the name. How dare I? It says FPT 420 says, "What's up, y'all? What's up to you, bruh?" How's it going? All right, Matt, what did you think of the finale of What If?
Yeah, I enjoyed it because it was like no plot, all action. It was just like we didn't set it up. We didn't use the 8 episodes to set it up. We don't need to like tell the story. Let's just get all action. I'm definitely rolling with the Killmonger plot because I don't like the Pepper Potts payoff. Like they kind of teased it at the end of that episode. Her and Shuri.
To be fair, I forgot all about that before you brought it back up. So,
but you know, a lot of these episodes are like teasers that essentially, I guess, are setting up season 2. And when they were doing like the Pepper Pot Shuri like team up, I was like, oh, they're gonna go get him season 2. And then it was like it was like, oh, where'd he go? I was like, really? That's what I get for that? Picking Killmonger, I was like, yo, you watched what he did. Like,
right.
You watched him betray his way into power. I can trust him now. Like, he got all that backstabbing out of his system. But outside of a couple like glaring plot holes that I'm sure we're going to get to, I like the episode a lot.
And you, Joseph, what did you feel about the episode?
I liked it overall. We're going to talk, of course, about the Gamora situation, but I have to say the armor that Tony was wearing in the Gamora part of it was like some of the coolest looking design I've ever seen for an Iron Man suit. And I'm a fairly large Iron Man fan. But I have to say my favorite is what I love about all these Avengers movies in general is seeing these separate characters like coincide and like run off of each other and work off of each other and stuff. And then, of course, I did enjoy Jaz brought up the whole thing with Peggy in the beginning. Like I like that they're literally just like, nah, it's Winter Soldier. That's all it is. It's the beginning of Winter Soldier. I'm like, yeah. But see, that got me thinking too. I'm like, oh my God, have they had to deal with a battle in Manhattan? Have they what's the Iron Man in her world like?
So many questions, no answers. I wasn't here last time, and I think you guys may have mentioned it, or to some degree, I did not like last week's episode like at all. I was just like, I hated it. So I was like a little bit worried that I would walk into this episode with the same bias of just like, this is just going to be nothing, like this nothingness. And it was actually really, really funny. I actually was like, it kind of answered my concern, like, will this team work out together? Because again, we had Killmonger who just lied and cheated his way to the throne, and now little baby Shuri is trying to take him down. So it's just like, I don't know how this team is going to work. And we also hadn't seen Gamora yet either. So it's just like, I don't know how this team is going to work, but I love how organically they got it together. I also think that part of that was because it was Captain Carter. Like when Steve was trying to run things, like everybody was like pushing back and like giving him a hard time. No one said shit to her. It was just like, all right, that's the plan.
Because they know that she would shut their shit down like that.
Yep.
We're also missing the one person that doesn't respond to being like, this is a good idea, and that they were missing Tony. They didn't have Stark. Stark is always that like problem with the Avengers in all these things. It's just like Captain Rogers, like, this is the idea, this is the planning we need to do. It starts like, that's stupid, and here's why.
Yeah, but even then, I don't think Stark would have tried it with her because he can sense the murder in her eyes.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like Steve was kind of like this innocent baby that became Captain America, and Peggy was already a spy.
Yes,
so, like
she's already killed people.
Yeah.
But I really just liked the way the team interacted. They were easily funny. I was also worried about like Beetle Strange, maybe like he would be the one with the alternative, ulterior motive, but then it was easily like, oh no, Killmonger is gonna Killmonger. So like,
well, if you remember, like when we were discussing the Doctor Strange episode, like I don't know about this guy. This dark Doctor Strange. And I mean, when Killmonger sort of like, yeah, he's the one I don't trust.
Really, this Doctor Strange is just tired. Like, really, that's all it is.
He's
He's just tired. And we all look a little evil when we're tired.
He's had like a millennia to rest, and that's still how tired he is because he's got the bags under his eyes.
Yeah, he's going through a lot.
I do still question him sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. We still got a side eye him.
That ending scene, I was like, okay.
I think he's just like really like opportunistic, and he's like he hasn't come across the right opportunity yet. That's all. Like that's the difference between him and Killmonger. Killmonger is like he seizes any opportunity he thinks he can turn to his advantage, and
because he really didn't think that one through. Like
no.
Like, these group of people are gonna go with your plan. This is what you think is gonna. Yeah, all right. No, you're wasting your time, dude. I thought you was a smart one. Yes, smart. So yeah, but overall, I really liked it. I really loved. We'll get to this, but I really loved the end credit scene. That was the thing that made me cry. Hearing Chadwick Boseman's voice again. That also was like he always gets to me. But the only thing, like I said, there was one very large plot hole, which was the whole Gamora thing. But before we go into that, I wanted to know, is this the ending you thought would happen? Like, I know in the earlier episodes, we all kind of thought it would be this or that, it was Mephisto the whole time. It was a Hyundai commercial the whole time, it was so many things the whole time.
Oh, so now they brought up the Hyundai. I'm a little disappointed it didn't go that way now.
Yeah, what happened to that scene?
There wasn't a single Hyundai.
Yeah. That trailer had the whole scene with Thor hanging out the window.
That was not even there. It was not there at all.
It was like, shit, they're onto us.
They didn't even fight an army. None of them fought the army. There was just literally, I believe the term I heard online, it was just a bunch of people bodying freaking Ultron the whole time.
Essentially.
So Joseph, was this the ending you thought we were gonna get?
About 60%. The core of it was like, I'm like, yeah, it's Ultron. It's what's going to happen. They're going to fight Ultron. They're going to defeat Ultron. And then we're going to get setups for more stuff, whether we keep getting continuations or new stuff. Where we didn't get, like, I felt very validated at first because they're like, we're going to bring Killmonger into the Guardians. I'm like, it's going to happen. And then it didn't happen. So, but generally, yeah, this is kind of what I expected. Like, I expect where we'll go from here is we'll get more Carter. We'll get probably the world with the displaced widow is now in. But we're probably done with Party Thor because I really don't see much more.
That's fine.
I hope you're right on that.
I'm fine.
Yeah, like,
I'm
and
fine
it's
with
not like I
Beerless
would be against seeing more Party Thor, but I'd rather see Party Thor in other people's business.
Could actually we get more of
Darcy and Howard?
Well, yeah, obviously Howard.
We need that.
We need that.
God, what's that dude's name? Bad time to just go blank. The Fat Thor from the Endgame version. Can we just get more of him? I mean, that would be great.
The Thor Lebowski, is it?
Yeah, the
Thor Lebowski. That's it, Lebowski.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Matt, was this the ending you thought we were gonna get?
So like Joe was saying, like the fight with Ultron is, we kind of all been saying that for a while. Like when they were teasing that was where it was going to go. I would say like the details of the fight was totally different than what I thought it was going to be. It's like, I thought it was going to be a fight with the army. I feel like they definitely squandered the opportunity of having like zombie Thanos with his Infinity Gauntlet help out. Like instead of just
so
jumping. I know it is. I know, but I wanted to see.
It's not even that Thanos is dangerous. Like, do you really want like
very true
Vision to get another set of stones? Like,
yeah, but like the fine details of the battle were different. But yeah, the overall goal, and I've been kind of clamoring this whole time that I want them to like somehow do like a transition to where these characters can in an extent can be used in the movies. But I guess because we haven't really technically met Kang yet, it would make more sense to have him established because he does a lot of interdimensional hopping, and then we could like because like you can't not have Haley Atwell live action
Exactly.
as Captain Britain in the MCU. Like you have to.
Exactly.
Like you have to. Like we all want it. Like you kind of just have to.
I'll sign that change.
Yeah.
Petition.
that petition.
Send that petition to me. I'm gonna sign it. Jazz,
Right.
was this the ending you were hoping for?
So I mean, going back to previous panels, I had said that I really have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, obviously the whole battle with Ultron, Ultra Vision, yeah, that happened. I really didn't expect any particular details, although I had just had a thought that I'm really disappointed that we didn't get was watching that crew, the Guardians of the Universe, not eating shawarma at the end of that whole thing.
Or something. Or something.
That was the Chinese food.
The Chinese?
Oh, I guess.
That's what you're gonna
same.
get.
They weren't tired. They were getting
Right.
not the same.
Yeah, whatever.
I will say I have a disappointment with this episode, with the fact that like it became a tug of war with Killmonger and Vision.
Plus Ultron.
No, it wasn't even plus Ultron at that point.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So, but like, I wanted more
Zola
like,
Vision.
I kind of wish that had happened earlier, and then them having to fight Zola some. So, just a thought.
Okay, but I've got a question for you guys onto that point. Like when Killmonger took the stones for himself and saying that he was going to go back and put them in their right place. Did you believe him, or were you thinking he was up to no good like I was?
Oh, I think he was gonna fix everything like he said he was going to. But the problem is like it's like Thanos saying he's gonna fix everything. Like his idea of fixing
exactly
is not exactly good.
I mean, I think his version also involved a certain sort of genocide with a certain group of people.
Probably
won't.
absolutely.
You figure out what group of people you think that is.
We don't want this video to get
impression.
flagged.
Yeah.
I get the impression that even Thanos, like even the MCU Thanos, the non-alternate world Thanos, MCU Thanos would be like, dude, come on, at least make it like without knowing.
He said, bro,
that's what he kept saying. He was like, random.
Bro, it's 2021.
Random. You know.
Right. Right.
You know, I killed a couple scrolls. Like, you gotta mix it up.
Randomized. On the Killmonger part, maybe you guys can help me, or I might be tripping. I feel like there was this like never happened bonding moment between T'Challa and Killmonger. And I'm like, wouldn't the Star-Lord Killmonger the Star-Lord T'Challa not even know who Killmonger was? Because he didn't grow up on Earth at all.
Right.
You shouldn't have known him.
So they didn't go into it, but Killmonger was wearing the Black Panther suit. And
right. That's true.
At this point, T'Challa's been back to Wakanda, so he probably knows about that.
Okay.
So, and he's really smart. He might have put two and two together and figured out like you're related, but like, and
because that one line where T'Challa was saying something and Killmonger was just like, "Oh, you really are from another planet." I was like, "When did y'all talk about that?"
Right. When did you have time to talk about your Avengers?
And then the fact that he looks at him, he's like, "Oh, that's obviously T'Challa," but I killed T'Challa, so I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Here.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I feel like Killmonger knew who he was, but it wasn't like vice versa. And then when they were calling each other cousin, I was like, when did y'all have this time to talk and catch up?
That's the thing with
when
the whole
cameras weren't rolling.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about the montage of them like planning is like we don't know what they talked about. They could have been discussing that for 4 weeks for all we know.
True.
Yeah. Time works differently.
Bucket.
Yeah, time works differently. I'm very upset that this episode was not Secret Wars, because that's where I thought it was going. But it was kind of like a Secret Wars, but not really. And again, I was very upset that it just wasn't Mephisto the entire time. Like I really thought Disney was gonna throw a bone and was just gonna give it to us. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's why like they switched the episodes up, because they had to add Mephisto in there somewhere. No, that's not what happened at all. There's still no Mephisto. And also, and I think maybe, you guys can let me know how you feel too. I really don't know, based on this ending, except for the end credit scene, how the ending affects the movies or the rest of the MCU, because this is all supposed to be canon. And the way it ended, I'm not really sure how it's supposed to go, especially if Killmonger is stuck in a pocket dimension. Then how is he supposed to come back in Wakanda forever? Like, there's a lot of things that are like.
So what we do know is that Strange is in his little pocket world, and the Watcher probably isn't paying as much attention to him as he probably should.
All right.
We also know that there's at least one person stuck out of time or out of their proper dimension. So there's already evidence of dimension hopping that's going to be more of a permanent effect. So like for all we know, they could be like, oh yeah, it's this one character from What If that's now in the movies, and like they're not going to explain how immediately. They're not going to show us it immediately and stuff. You know, like before Shang-Chi, we didn't know that Wong was into pit fighting. So like,
right, exactly.
They're going to give us the Jimmy Woo style like character growth arc where like suddenly a thing is going to happen that we're like, oh, he did learn close-up magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you guys, so we saw, let's just go to the end credit scene because we knew they would do one and it was surely a good one. Basically, Peggy was not trying to go back to her world because she wanted to see Steve. And the Watcher was like, nah, you definitely want to go back to where you was at.
Trust me. Don't worry like that, girl.
She's like, trust me, you want to go back there. And they went back. It was basically Winter Soldier. And instead of them looking for files, it was the Hydra Stomper, or I like to call it the Iron Giant suit. And apparently inside of it, it might be Steve. It is Steve.
Some form of Steve.
Old Steve, young Steve. Someone said Steve's had in a jar.
His brain, right? His brain.
She's not going to want to date just his brain.
He is the Hydra Stomper.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's going to be weird. So what did you guys think? Were you surprised? Were you not surprised? You were happy, excited? I was crying. I was just like, oh my God, Peggy deserves this.
Yeah. I like the end game callback and like giving, a captain a happy ending so they can get their dance finally.
Oh.
I also like that line too, where she was fighting the kicker guy. I always forget his name.
Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah, and she was just like, "Oh, I'm a wonderful dancer," as opposed to Captain is like, "Oh, I'm not a good dancer."
Mm-hmm.
which is a really good callback to that fight in Winter Soldier, because Batroc talks shit to Cap, and then Cap's just like, Peggy snarks. Steve doesn't say crap, but Peggy snarks.
Yeah, exactly.
And then beat your ass.
That's what makes them such a great little couple.
Yep.
He said, I'm over here. Now I'm over here. I'm so fast. This is hilarious.
Oh God. Any other comments on the end credit scene?
I mean, I think it was just beautiful how it paralleled what we know already from Steve Rogers as Captain America. It was just her going back so she could see him, at least wanting to. It's just, it just gave me so many feelings, obviously.
Because it's like true love is a real thing. Like, look at that.
I guess I'm just a sucker for that when they call back to the movies, because it's like, yes, you get it. These two belong together in whatever universe you throw at them.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I'm less optimistic that it's that happy yet.
Well, I mean, obviously,
you don't want anyone to be happy.
It's knowing how these things work, unfortunately. Because I was hoping that we didn't have the whole Killmonger turn at the end, but we did, and I'm like, come on, man. But like, I'm kind of confident because they're really dropping so many hints about it that if they continue her story in another episode in season 2, that it's literally going to be the Winter Soldier movie, but instead of Steve being just Steve in a suit, it's Steve's the Winter Soldier.
Ooh, I would be there for that.
Which really
although I still have issues with that, just for the one reason that I can't explain why, because I don't really know the reason why, but like I mean, we had talked about this in our group chat, but what I really was hoping to see in the What If, because it was giving me hope for it, was Natasha and Bucky. Like, they have a big history in the comics, if you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. He's the one that trained her in the Red Room, and they were off being little spies and having this.
Well, that's what the kids are calling it these days, being little spies.
Yep. I was about to say.
That's what we're calling it now.
For learning
I mean, maybe in that universe.
Being little spies.
But I mean, that would be a great little twist to see too, as him as the Winter Soldier. But I mean, I still want some form of Bucky and Nat, and I always will want some form of Bucky and Nat.
It's just, I think if they're gonna, because I feel like that's what they're gonna do with like half the episodes of the next season is give us like continuations of existing characters, and the other half are gonna be new characters. I don't know if we're gonna get a big like everyone comes together moment in the next season. I kind of don't want them to. We've had that once already. We don't need it necessarily. I'd like to see more crossovers, like maybe I don't know, Peggy popping into the other Natasha's dimension, being like, "Hey, something's going wrong."
Their friendship was so cute in this.
See, I thought it was a little more than friendship.
Loving it.
Oh yeah, no,
I thought it was a little bit more than friendship.
Some underlying intention.
I mean, they could have had a past too. I mean, who knows? But
part of that is also because that's how Winter Soldier was written. That,
like there was that sexual really tension between each other.
They were basically besties, but like you're like, but
like besties. You know?
Did they or didn't they?
Have been drunk on a Saturday night one too many times.
If they do follow the Winter Soldier plot or the whole Captain America plot for that though, with Peggy, and they keep it parallel, you know that Peggy's going to stay true to Steve no matter what.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general, like, you know, just saying. But
no, I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm cool with that.
I've been trying to get them to throw a little adult action in these things this whole time, and they teetered a little bit on Party Thor, but we didn't get all of it. You know what I'm saying? They walked the line with it. I was like, oh, I see.
I will say though, I was a little disappointed that they didn't do the Frost Giant version of Loki instead of Party Thor. I mean, I knew it was going to be Thor, but part of me was hoping it was going to be Loki, just because they were. Better. I mean, they Killmonger, for God's sake, come on.
He's like, So knowing that the Watcher could have really chosen anyone because we were introduced to a lot of characters. Or is there anyone you were surprised it wasn't picked? Because I was thoroughly surprised that they didn't pick Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that was the one I was gonna say.
But why none of the Captain Marvels.
But then, like, they barely used her in the movie, so I guess it works. You know what I mean? Like,
I think from a writing perspective, it's really hard for writers to like use Captain Marvel because she's kind of like an ender. Like, you know, you saw what she did to Thanos' flagship, just straight through it.
So, we might see in the next season, then maybe.
Yeah.
They don't want to use her for some reason.
There's probably a lot of reasons, and some of them is that, and some of them is probably because
she's a cheat code essentially. It's like why you couldn't have Thor and Hulk in Civil War. Like it would have been too much. Like, way too much.
Vision was already pushing it.
very, very true.
Vision and Wanda.
But I don't know. Like I kind of am. It's hard to say because like I feel
he had a lot of options. He could have picked anybody.
I kind of like because of who he chose, and they talked about it in the end of the episode. Like I kind of know why he chose Killmonger, and it goes more into the breaking the oath than anything else. Because he's like, well, that world's screwed if he stays there, so let's just let's throw him on the spike.
That's a good point.
Because he talks about it, he's like, you knew all of this was going to happen, didn't you? He's like, yeah.
He said, "Watcher, duh."
I've been caught surprised once. I'm not letting that happen.
Right.
That scene was funny. He's like, "You can see me." He's like,
"I learned the value of not talking." Twice now. Talking too much got me in trouble.
He's recently gotten into journaling because
it's much easier. Can't hear me.
Besides Carol Danvers, is there anyone else you would have picked besides the people who we got for our team?
I mean, I already said Loki.
Yeah, Loki is but the Frost Giant version?
Yeah, the Frost Giant version.
Yeah, he was way cooler.
I'm unsure if that Loki can fight.
That's true.
That's the good point.
He just like, giants. That's all he does.
I'm not like trying to be like, oh, that Loki sucks. No, that Loki's awesome, and it's probably one of my favorite Lokis. But like we know what made the Loki we've known and loved forever so good at fighting is he was raised as Guardian, and that's just kind of what they are. But like the Frost Giants, they rely on the fact that they're fucking huge.
Yeah.
He just giants. That's what he does.
They were kind of like jocks because like they were like really trying it out at the party. The
natural hugeness, and they're like, we're just intimidating. People don't want to fight us. And then the Watcher pulls Loki, and Loki's like, dude, no, that's not
But you know, that could have made for some great comedy gold in this episode. Just thinking between him and Ultravision, I'm just like,
I am kind of disappointed maybe that they didn't pull like, I don't know, Peter Parker or you know, Head in a Jar, Scott Lang.
Scott Lang. Drink it up.
Definitely. Come on.
You got to have a good spy, and you know, Head in a Jar Scott Lang is a perfect spy for that. You know, he's the scout. He's like, all right, I'm watching the fight.
I like I said, it was meant to be how it was meant to be, but it could have been done a lot faster if we had picked certain people.
Word.
Like a lot faster.
Literally pull
just
every
Captain Marvel.
Just Captain Marvel and
Captain Marvel.
Not even
Captain
one
Carter.
of them.
Just the two Carters. I mean,
Like
two captains. That's it.
Every iteration of Captain Marvel, just pull all of them. It's like 32 Captain Marvels fighting Vision. It would have been over. It would have been done.
There's no need for
Could have
watching.
went and took a nap. It's like, oh, this will be over when I wake up. Like,
We're actually gonna get more Chinese. What do you want?
Right.
We'll have it ready when you're done.
It also, their plan was like shockingly dumb. Like now watching it by the end of it, that like, oh, this was the plan all along to trap them, et cetera, et cetera. But like, why didn't they just like go get a glove and have someone wish the stones away like Thanos did?
That would have been too easy.
I mean, I know we're going to talk about it soon, but like the world they plucked the Gamora from, he could have just came 2 seconds earlier and just, oh, wait, I need that glove, bro. Don't mount that, please.
Which that is something that frustrated me. I thought was so dumb, was the whole like, oh, the Crusher can only destroy the gems from my universe. I'm like, when has that been a rule?
It's never been a rule. So we might as well just get to it. So the biggest plot hole of this episode was trailer after trailer. And even an announced title of an episode was "What if Gamora saved Tony?" and or trained Tony, something like that. And it episode by episode, we didn't see Gamora, and we didn't see that version of Tony. We didn't see that story, and then we get like maybe 2 seconds of the Watcher picking Gamora, and there's a different
the first person.
He's like, "Hey, yo, you come in."
The Watcher very pointy is like, "Not you, Stark. Stay here."
No.
Yeah, no. That's you.
You don't die in this episode, bro.
we'll let you get one. We'll let you get one.
Yeah. So, and it from the very the little bit that we got of that, in her world and the interactions we had with her in the episode, she seemed really fucking cool. Why didn't we get that? Like, clearly she won, and she has Thanos' main weapon, and she's got a different suit. It's like, all right, why didn't we get that? I honestly didn't need Party Thor, if I'm honest.
Yeah. and they just kind of threw that in there, like, oh, Gamora, she who killed Thanos, just threw that in there. Wait, you just gonna talk past that?
The official is that it was delayed because of COVID reasons, because they were doing the finishing touches on the animation during that time
at home.
They were trying to they didn't finish the animation on the episode previously. That shit was horrible, so I'm not trying to hear that.
That's all I'm saying, is that's the official line.
Yeah, all right.
And the idea for the episode apparently is that Stark didn't fall through the wormhole.
Yeah, I heard that.
Instead he ends up on Sakaar.
Yep.
And built his armor out of stuff he found on Sakaar. I'm like, it's either in a cave or on a junk planet, so that works.
With a bucket of bolts.
Oh god, yeah. So it's just, and also it seems like Gamora's relationship with Tony, he seemed he was lesser to her. You know what I mean? He's used to being the star or some shit, and it was very clear Gamora was the star. He didn't.
Was forgetting though, because he was using the same freaking line from Age of Ultron.
Oh, that was so cringy. What can we do to get a suit of armor around the universe? I was like, shut up, Tony, bro. Shut up.
Because clearly that didn't work before. So
what if we try it again?
Around the universe this time. Bigger scale. But I'd say I call such bullshit on the COVID delay, because the part that really tore me up is that half of the episode, so their plan that Joseph was super stupid, which it was based off the fact that they had to get the Soul Stone first. There's no explanation as to why they needed the Soul Stone specifically, I'm assuming based off how they put it in the Infinity Atomizer that the Soul Stone ran the machine.
It powers it. Yeah, it powers it and gives it its sentience or something like that.
It gives it,
but it already has a sentient in it.
Right, it's a robot.
Jim in there, and it's like, oh, I got to do the thing.
I have a soul now.
You'd already had one.
But it's just like, I'm like, like Yali was saying, like, this show was announced back in August or started back in August. We're in October now. If you was gonna pull that episode that clearly has so much to do with the finale, y'all could have took some stuff out. Cause like that whole Soul Crusher thing, like say like inference and like, oh, okay, they needed that. But it's like when they first, cause I rewinded it a couple times when they were just like, all right, here's the plan, get the Soul Stone. I was like, wait, why do they need the Soul Stone? Did I miss something? I rewinded it and I was like, oh no.
they just want the Soul Stone.
They just want the Soul Stone.
I wonder if they just
I would have went for time. Like,
right. That's I said the same thing.
I would have went for the time stone.
I was like, they just picked which stone to get like randomly. All right, all right, put names in the hat. Put names in the hat.
Power Stone, not power
it. Exactly,
bro.
Again, going back to what you just said though, like going back to I believe it was Infinity War when they were trying to get the Mind Stone from Vision or whatever. Wanda was, because all he could feel was her. Aw,
and extreme
like,
pain.
yeah,
all I feel is you and extreme
rewind, and then gets it and just
but why not? Why doesn't the Mind Stone make it sentient? Why do we keep needing, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many other stones. Like, why does it have to be the soul one? Like, it does.
And I feel like that explanation was probably in that scrapped episode, so it just seemed
probably
we don't know.
Kind of wondering if it wasn't even in there, because half of the people
it wasn't there.
It was like,
half of the whole contingency of this show, the whole conceit of this show is the idea that like they're just gonna throw stuff at us, and it's multiversal junk. So it's like we're just gonna accept it. And maybe we'll figure it out eventually, or maybe the answer's in the comics.
Not this panel. We don't accept anything.
It was 11:50. It was 11:50. It was 11:59 in the writers' room. They had to go to print at 12. It's like, fuck, we need a stone for them to get somebody. It was like,
the orange one.
Soul Stone.
they rolled a six-sided die. That's all it was.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Minnie K says he wonders if Tony and Gamora are a couple in that universe.
I could see it.
Tony seems to have a thing for the daughters of Thanos.
Right. He gets along with them quite well.
Nebula, looking at you.
But going back to the whole soul stone thing, I might have been thinking too much into it, but watching I guess it was Black Widow kind of take it from, I think it was Peggy.
Yeah.
In that one scene. It's like, well, that's oddly poetic, because that's how she ended up getting the soul stone.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Don't try to help them. Don't help them.
Trying to save the episode.
Don't try to help them.
Trying to save the episode.
It sounds beautiful when you say it, but that's not what they tried to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking too much into it, but that was
I like that.
Somewhat poetic there.
I do like that.
The beauty isn't even the whole thing about it. It's just more the idea that it's like there's a lot of reversals happening.
There was a lot of reversals. There was
from what we had.
Right. Clint died instead of Natasha.
Yep.
We had Peggy as our captain instead of, Steve.
Yep.
Not just did Clint die instead of Natasha, Clint was hanging by a thread and was like, nah, just let me go. I'm done.
He's like, I'm done, bro.
His family was already dead. His family was already dead, so he didn't have anything to lose at that point.
That was a great scene in that episode. It was probably my favorite scene in that episode.
I will say, though, if we get more Black Widow in the future, can we just have Lake Bell play her? Because she was really good.
I can't really see ScarJo coming back.
They settled their lawsuit.
They did.
They said all the things you're supposed
settled
to
it, but that doesn't mean there isn't bad blood there.
Yeah. They put out that they put out that statement, can't wait to work together in the future.
Meanwhile, Dave Bautista was like, you could have just made a Drax movie instead.
Every episode, on the topic of Dave Bautista, all these one-line cameos from actual actors, why didn't they just let him be Drax?
They don't. He doesn't care anymore. He's done.
No, they didn't even call him.
Yeah, he said they didn't even call me.
He got Edward Norton. He was like waiting for the call, and it just never came.
But he was like, I would have just done it. Like
Yeah,
he was
for
interviewed
free,
as like
like-
I would have just done it for free. Like in an
Yeah.
afternoon, I could have recorded all of them for free and not really.
I could have seen like this episode where he's invisible.
That would have been hilarious.
That would have been funny.
Like
He
him
was-
behind the
he was there
watcher the whole
He was there the
time.
whole
Yeah.
time.
I did see some interesting criticisms of this episode online talking about like, oh, so the Watcher chose everyone but the Natasha that literally lost everything to stop Thanos or Ultron or whatever. Like, didn't choose her. I'm like, because he was planning on taking to her world.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was part of the plan. It's all part of the plan.
It's the Doctor Strange problem all over again. When Strange like, there's only one way this is going to work, and I can't tell you otherwise it's going to work. It's the same issue with the Watcher. The Watcher plays the Doctor Strange in this world because of this whole situation. He's like, I know how to solve the problem. I just can't tell you I know how to solve the problem.
Yeah. So I read
Well, I
this
mean,
fan.
even Natasha, she said that she won't go back, that her world is gone and that
Yeah.
you won and she lost everything.
Now, how
Yeah.
fucked up would that have been if Watch like still got to go back?
That's really
That's what I
fucked
thought he
live
was
on
gonna
this
do. He was
planet.
like, it's
Y'all
a
did too.
metaphorical door.
I did
I was
too.
like, he gonna just drop her off and leave her by her fucking self.
The
Like,
only person on that planet. Like, all right, bro.
oh,
I see. But I read a really cool fan theory about, because they were talking about how Tony Stark dies in every episode.
Except for this one. I'm
Except
just
for this
saying
one. They
that.
let yet. He didn't die
Yet.
yet. But I read a really cool fan theory that they were talking about like absolute points and how like Christine dying in that stranger's world was like an absolute point because he chose to be with her instead of break up with her to go on his journey. So I read a thing where they were saying that talking about Doctor Strange's vision about the only one way that they win, that was like an idea that was like artificially put in Doctor Strange's brain for the sole purpose of getting Tony Stark killed. And the theory was that He Who Remains had a hand to do with that because Tony figured out time travel and how to do the quantum verse. So he would have been able to like chase him through time, like when he like came.
The problem with that though is Stark figured it out and now everyone fucking knows it. Like it's not like killing Stark after the fact removes the existence of time travel. Like he'd have to kill off Hank Pym for that. Like that would be the only way, because Pym hasn't shared how to make Pym particles. So because Scott didn't know how. He's like, when Pym's gone, there's no more of this.
Yeah, the theory was, Tony figuring it out in like the basement of the man cave of his house, versus if he were to like have a lot of time to like perfect the art, how to like, travel the multiverse, that like when he like came to like, all right, now I want to fuck shit up, then Tony could have figured out a way to like, oh, he's in multiverse 3, we got to go to 3. So there was just like, it was an artificial idea put in Strange's head that was the only way that they could beat Thanos for the sole purpose of like eliminating Tony Stark, so that the time travel idea actually becomes the idea that his variant found like 3,000 years later. He like just dusted off Tony's old work. I was just like, now I can use this.
It feels kind of short-sighted, like checkers level for Kang when Kang plays like interdimensional chess.
Oh yeah, especially because there's a version of that whole Infinity War where Peter was the one who figured out time travel and was the one who told Tony how to do it. So killing Tony wouldn't have really been necessary because Peter was the one who figured it out for him in the first place. So
mad different versions.
There's different versions of how that happens, and there's a lot of smart people in the MCU. So someone would have figured it out. It doesn't necessarily have to be Tony. I just think it was just Robert Downey Jr.'s contract was up and they needed to get rid of him.
He said, my back hurts from carrying you for 12 years.
We need to get him out of here somehow.
It's kind of poetic too, because that was the whole argument between him and Cap, is like Cap just follows orders and does what like everyone thinks is right, and Tony will never lay himself down on the line, which they already fixed that in the first fucking total Avengers movie. But like this is like the ultimate answer to that is, Cap is like, no, I'm gonna go have my own life. They can handle this from here. And Stark being like, power move.
You're not the one to make the sacrifice play, and everything that's special from you came out of the bottle. So
exactly.
He said I would just cut the wire.
Freaking Mjolnir, Steve lifted Mjolnir, and arguably Steve has always been able to lift Mjolnir. And Tony was like, nah, I could try and find another way, but this is the best way to do it, and sacrificed himself.
I hate that that's the explanation, that he could always do it. He just didn't want to make Thor feel bad. Versus,
I love it. Are you kidding kidding me?
No, because the other version of that, before they had like confirmed that he could always lift it, they were saying the reason why he couldn't lift it in Age of Ultron is because he still had that guilt about knowing that Tony's parents were murdered and that he never.
Oh yeah,
I
mean,
mean,
told
like
him
doubt the guilt that he had.
Right, but then once Tony
they
figured
would
it out,
nudge
yeah.
But
And
that
also,
works
we
for
all
me
know
too.
that Thor has like a very sensitive ego, and so like it's just better for everyone if we don't say like he could lift it the whole time.
It's
so
funny
you're.
that-
I'm not gonna. Let's not. We'll save that for another day.
so what it is that it's not that Thor's worthy. It's just Mjolnir takes pity on him at this point.
Yep, that's basically what it is. He just feels bad for him. He knows he's got mommy issues,
I mean, I'm
daddy
just
issues.
gonna say that. I mean, I don't really want to get into a big talk about this because it's not what we're here for. But I mean, I have problems with believing that Cap was only worthy after the facts.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's just them trying to find an answer without thinking about it too much.
Right. True.
But that is also to digress from Marvel for a second. That's a major trope of like, you'd be worthy if it wasn't for this one little thing.
Yeah.
Like fantasy and storytelling in general. There's a game series called Dark Sun that has like this whole like post-apocalyptic fantasy world vibe. And one of these noble characters who's like a good guy, except for like this one thing, can't do this one thing, go into this place of like ultimate good until he basically gets over him explaining the bad
Curse
thing.
my cocaine addiction.
Right.
And that's why I buy into the whole thing and not willing to embarrass.
Only I did enjoy Coke.
Only I didn't
worthy.
like Coke. I could
But
do
like,
it.
we also were dealing with, and even if it wasn't just the whole like guilt over knowing what happened situation, there's also a bunch of other stuff. Like there's 5 years between Infinity War and Endgame that we don't know what Steve did fully. We know he basically took over
That's
Sam's
true.
job of being a counselor and helped people in a way that Captain America never could originally. So, there's a lot that he probably was doing in that 5 years to make him worthy if he wasn't fully worthy beforehand.
Absolutely.
Which also sounds like an easier answer than the one they gave.
He could just do it all the time.
He was just being a good guy for 5 years.
Right, it's Cap.
Exactly.
So we know for sure we're getting a season 2. We know it's definitely coming next year. We're pretty sure that I've heard that like 60% of the episodes that they didn't use for season 1 are getting transferred over, and the other 40% will be new content that will probably get switched around again because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And,
well, I mean, so to be fair, that might be the whole reason for that. Also, might be because of Chadwick's passing.
Yeah, they did say they were going to do a.
They were planning on doing a lot more with T'Challa, but unfortunately,
Wasn't it revealed he was supposed to actually get his own spinoff show?
Yes, he was going to get a Star-Lord T'Challa show.
Oh, that'd have been fire.
That would have been great.
So fun.
Which also just goes to show how much people do not like Peter Quill.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're working so hard to make anyone else be Star-Lord.
I don't know, but see, at this point, I can't tell if it's that people don't like Peter Quill or if people don't like Chris Pratt.
I love Chris
both.
Pratt.
I think it's a little bit of both. There
I
are
love Chris
people that
Pratt.
don't like Chris Pratt, and there's
I
people
think it's
that
both.
just don't like Star-Lord.
I think it's both.
Because-
He's pretty
I think
unlikable.
originally, it was just mostly the Chris Pratt situation because of the problematic elements of his life. And then, like, we had T'Challa as Star-Lord, and everyone's like, nah, it's just both. It's just both.
I mean, I always heard about the whole it's his fault with Thanos because he couldn't keep his temper in check. That's the argument that I always hear.
Minnie K says that he loves Peter Quill with sad emoji.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm a Peter Quill fan.
To be fair, Chris Pratt's son even prefers Captain America to him.
Listen, we should always listen to the children.
As a fun fact,
So do I.
I like Peter Quill in the comics because Peter Quill in the comics is a way cooler character than Peter Quill in the movies.
He's gonna redeem himself in Thor: Love and Thunder. It's coming.
Is he?
I don't know.
Minnie K wants to point out that Doctor Strange himself said it could only go one way. So Peter did nothing wrong in all caps. Did he?
It's all part of the point.
But, okay, so my question about that is that if was it only one way after that fact?
Yeah, I was gonna say because
Right.
there was after. He said we had two ways.
That's always been my question.
There was
Well, that's
two
the
ways.
other
After
issue.
that happened, it could only end one way, or was it just one way the whole time? I don't know.
It's the issue is as of that point, we from what we are to understand is there's only one timeline. There's the sacred timeline. Right. So
he said,
yeah, but it just seems like the Peter on all the timelines are jerks because he works at Denny's in this one.
Dairy
like,
Queen.
Dairy Queen. Listen, I don't give a shit. I don't like you.
Don't insult Denny's. They gave us Hobbit food.
We don't have Denny's here in Philly.
That sounds like a Philly problem, not a Denny's.
Hey, remember the one that used to be on City Line Avenue? I used to go there.
Everybody used to go there
all the time as a kid.
Especially after partying and getting drunk. Anyways, that's for a different podcast.
All the grease. All the grease.
All the grease.
So what do you think? Do you think that with what we know which is coming up, because they did release Marvel India released a schedule of the films that are coming out in 2022, and one of them was being Blade, which really threw people off. But do we think with that schedule that's coming out, will we see those characters, including Shang-Chi, who was just introduced, the Eternals? Do you think we'll see more of those characters in season 2?
I think we'll see references to them.
Yeah, I don't think Eternals would pop in What If. That'd be, I guess we gotta wait for the movie. But I'd like to see Shang-Chi in What If. That'd be cool.
I mean, if they follow the same type of filming that they've done with this past Infinity Saga, they're gonna pop in. I mean, look at Thor: Dark World. We had a little mini cameo popping in, even if it was really just Loki behaving like him for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm expecting to see them pop in and out throughout this next saga that we're gonna get of stories.
See, I think it'd be interesting because if I'm right in how I'm reading this, I'm not like reading anywhere, but just paying attention to what they're doing in the shows and the movies and stuff. The Eternals are technically like on a very similar power level to the Watcher, correct? Like they're kind of in that same.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
Of it.
So like, if we see the Eternals pop up or referenced in season 2, then chances are good it's going to be like on a contemporary level with him. Like as opposed to being like, I got to go pluck them from their reality to do the thing, or their reality is in danger. Which, by the way, why weren't they doing anything in any of these other?
The Oath.
The Oath just kept saying they can't do nothing, like in any multiverse. Apparently, it's just like we can't.
Ultron's just launching nukes, and they're like, "Well, it's been a good run."
Well,
right?
He's not a deviant, so we can't.
Not our problem.
It's not a deviant,
and that just makes you wonder, like, what
saying is, I respect the Watcher more because the Watcher's like, you know what? Nah, I'm tired of this.
Technically, it was the Watcher's fault. That's why he had to give,
so that's why he had to fix it.
Shit.
It's like 20% of the Watcher's fault.
He's like, if I just had stopped talking.
Or at least like move back. You kept moving, like you said, he kept moving closer.
Kept leaning in, like
get off his ear.
He needs to learn his inside voice, is what it is.
He got louder. He's like, are you saying something to me?
Like,
can you hear me?
I will say also one thing about this whole episode, these last 2 episodes in general, that is very disappointing to me is like the what if of this, where James Spader was voicing Ultron the whole time. Oh, it would have been so good.
Yeah.
What if James Spader was Ultron?
They could have got him to do it.
He's not doing nothing.
Right, he's definitely not doing that.
What is he doing? Being the Lizard King? So like,
he's doing nothing. Do you think that we'll see either the Fantastic Four or the X-Men, or even some of the Marvel Netflix versions of the characters show up in season 2 of What If?
I mean, it's possible. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but it's definitely possible.
Because there's been talks, that they got big plans for Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
I also heard they're bringing back John as Punisher too. So
yeah,
they better bring back Barenthal. I love him.
Yeah,
he's great.
So will we get? Is that the way we'll be introduced to them? Is during What If? Because that's probably a cheaper thing to do than probably having to do a live action intro.
I need a Blade Punisher team up.
I think we're gonna have
a
better opportunity seeing them. They're like, if they're going to introduce, they're probably getting introduced in She-Hulk. That's more when I see it happening. I also don't see them. I don't see anyone showing up in What If until we've had a version of them already shown up in movies or TV somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So like, I I don't see anyone being newly introduced. Now they could completely surprise me and just do something completely different. But my personal expectation is they're not going to use What If to introduce existing versions or new versions of or new characters, period, just new versions of existing characters. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a different Venom, or because now apparently Venom's MCU, I don't know yet.
Spoiler
alerts if you haven't seen Venom. Did everyone see Venom?
I haven't seen.
I actually haven't seen Venom yet, but I know about that.
So everybody knows about the end credit scene.
I watched the end credit scene.
I don't.
That was enough for me.
Why am I the only person who forces themselves to watch the whole movie if we're just gonna skip to the end? Like,
because the first Venom was ass, and I didn't want to put
going
myself.
And the second one was.
And to be fair, that's why I haven't gone to see this one yet, because I was just like that. The other one was just like, oh dear.
The only difference of the first Venom and the second one is that Tom Hardy is way more greasy in the second one. Just like way.
I really liked the first Venom. I thought it was dumb fun in like the best kind of way. Like it wasn't great. Like I wouldn't say it's like, oh, this deserves some sort of notifications or notice from some sort of award ceremony people or whatever. I'm like, no, this is a lot of fun. I enjoyed sweaty, twitchy Tom Hardy and also voicing Venom.
Yeah, he's the only thing enjoyable about those movies.
Sure. I also am not a huge fan of the Benedict Cumberbatch being cast as Doctor Strange level casting for Cletus Cassidy. That's my other issue. I feel like Woody Harrelson being cast as Cletus Cassidy is like softball level. Like it's like this is like entry level casting. Like just do that. Just do that.
Minnie K says, I think the end credit means Sony is taking back Spider-Man from Marvel Studios. It's like, give us our shit back. Give us our.
They just came to an agreement like fairly recently.
Well, you know what? With the whole Steve Ditko's heirs suing Marvel. Trying to get the shit back, like that could cause like a whole wrench in the plan altogether. So
when I was reading up on that, because I had like a mini panic attack, I was like, not again. You just got to bet.
My whole thing that I saw,
they said stuff like that happens a lot.
It's less that like they'll lose the rights to use them, and more like they're gonna have to start paying
them. Yeah, but what perfect timing was when didn't look at our Marvel properties making billions of dollars overseas. Now's the time we want them back.
It's one of those situations.
Or pay us.
It's one of those situations though where like that they're not gonna not pay them if they lose the suit. Like if they lose the whole lawsuit, they're just gonna be like, all right, we'll pay for the use of the characters or something. They're not gonna be like, well, guess we're gonna not make Marvel anymore.
Yeah, well, moving on back to Star Wars.
Because those are going so great. Yeah.
It's not DC.
Yeah. Hey, look.
Also
DC
true.
is putting all their people of color only on HBO Max and not on big screen. So let's talk about that. Anyways, I'm sorry, it makes me really mad. Like, why the Latinos gotta be on HBO Max?
There's a lot of things about DC that makes me upset. So
yeah, there's and that's why we don't do panels about Titans.
That's a good show.
I'm joking. I actually love this. I like Titans.
I like Titans.
If there's one bit of fun,
I think you might be onto something now. But
just think about it though. Really think about it.
If there's one bit of positive DC news I've heard over the last couple of days, it's that they're making a live action version of the Adventures of the Bat Family thing, and I'm like, that sounds like
that's dope.
Yeah, but that just came out. I was like, didn't that webtoon just come out? Like, it must be doing.
Question though, is Ben Affleck a part of that? That's my question.
No.
If he is,
he's just in the Flash. He's just in the Flash.
That's enough. that's enough.
He's just gonna be in the Flash.
I mean, he got J-Lo back. His acting might be up. He riding the high right now.
His acting was so good when he was with J-Lo.
we don't talk about that movie. He was young.
Jiggly or whatever.
Jiggly. No, Jiggly is fine. We could just keep it in. That's perfectly fine.
Jiggly Caliente the movie. With Sally, we are running out of time. It has been super fun talking about What If with you guys. This really has been a crazy ride, and it's thrown us for a loop several times. And I can't say enough how much I've enjoyed talking with you guys and talking to you guys out there. And we're gonna do our final outro, which is sad. So I'll let Matt say goodbye first.
My beautiful friends, for the final time here, but not for these panels, period, because I'll be back for many, many, many things. As long as you want me, I'll be here. But I have been Mr. Porter, Matty Ice, Matt the Stallion, so many other aliases that I have that will take up too much time. I represent 1/4 of the Ether podcast. That is EITHER. The I is silent. We didn't spell it wrong. It's every Sunday on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor.
That's right. And the Sorcerer Supreme, Joseph, say goodbye to the people.
I'm not supreme over here. Come on, I'm at least Sorcerer subpar at most. I'm Joe. You can find me here, and I'm doing panels with these fine people. I'm also on Fandom Spotlite, where I write about game stuff whenever I'm not slowly disassociating out in Houston. And you can find me on Twitter, where I'm at the Spice Must Joe.
And LinkedIn.
Yeah, I was getting to my LinkedIn.
LinkedIn for the win.
I don't use Instagram, but I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I just don't use it that much.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, stuff like that.
All right. And Jazz, will you please say goodbye to the people?
Goodbye for this panel. I'm sure I'll see you all beautiful people on a different panels coming up. I've got some awesome stuff in the works, and you can find me over at Rose City Widow on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And I'll probably be seeing you soon.
Yes, and as always, last time I'm the Watcher. I don't know what I'll be if we do Hawkeye. I have to maybe I'll be the Kingpin. And I'll just wear all white and shave my hair off. You know what I mean? I'm dedicated. As always, I'm Yali. I'm here at Fandom Spotlite. I work for Big Anime, which I can't talk about. But if you're at New York City Comic-Con, they have a food truck. So figure it out.
Hey, Victor!
And also we want to say shout out to Victor, who's over at New York City Comic-Con. We're with you in spirit. Have a great time.
Absolutely.
And if you're at New York City Comic-Con, go over to the food truck and say Yali deserves a raise, just randomly. Don't know. Just randomly and then I'll get in trouble for it later. But yes, it's been so great talking to you guys about What If. Be sure to come back for more panels. More than likely, we'll do one for Hawkeye. I think we're doing one for the movie Dune. So if you guys are very excited about Dune, then you want to come back. Look at Joe's ready. Joe's ready. I won't be on the Dune.
And Aquaman.
Ooh, Batista and Aquaman. Ooh, that's a train I like to ride. Anyway,
that's like a real thing. Oh wait, never mind. In Dune, I was about to say Batista's gonna be an Aquaman.
He's gonna be in Aquaman, all right.
Multiverse
if me and Jazz have our way, he's gonna be in Aquaman. And that's the perfect way to end this with some perverted shit I just said. Again, we love you guys. Be sure to come back for more panels, and remember to follow your fandom. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.